Hello, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, let me get my table fixed here because I was trying to fix my table in the middle of that. I could not get it fixed. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Let me make sure this got posted. I just posted my forecast video, guys. Literally just now as we're getting on, so y'all gonna have to bear with me on that today. I'm a little bit slow today, but we're here. It's what matters. So, all right, let me put this up on here so you guys can see what we're looking at. All right, good to see you guys. K.A. Young, good to see you. What is up, Team Michelle? What is up, guys? Danica, good to see you. Good to see you guys all in here. Alrighty, all right. How many, if you're on my weather team, will you comment real quick? I'm just curious who I have in here. I know Danica's in here. Maybe. Okay, I think I just have Danica. So, Danica, I appreciate you for hopping in here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Let me make sure this is posted as well, and we're going to get into this. Okay. Alrighty, guys, let's get into this here. Let's talk about what's going on here. We're going to start with our upper level satellite imagery here this morning. We got a couple things ongoing just to kind of take note of here. We've got a disturbance up here moving out of Canada. This is the start of our cold air that's going to be moving in across the Ohio River Valley into the Midwest and into the Northeast as we go into this week. We've also got a little upper level disturbance here. This is going to be giving us severe weather tomorrow. We'll talk about what that looks like here in a few moments as well. And we are also looking at a pretty decent little subtropical jet stream here that's moving across the Gulf back down here across Florida. Florida should mostly be pretty quiet today, unlike the last couple of days where we've seen just a lot of thunderstorms, a lot of rain. That low pressure system that caused that is actually moving its way off to the northeast here. So like I said, not a lot going on. We're going to talk about what's going to happen here. We've got two things that we're watching. We've got a tropical storm off the coast of Mexico that's going to be moving up into Baja California as we go into Friday. That's going to make landfall potentially as a hurricane. And then eventually that moisture is going to get surged all the way up into Southern California, Southern Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma. We're going to be talking about some flooding and some severe weather as we go into the weekend and next week for that. I'll get to that here in just a moment. We're also going to be watching the tropics as well across the Atlantic. We've got a pretty decent idea on what's going to happen with the next 3 to 5 days with our system in terms of how far west it goes or how far north it goes. That plays a huge role in the overall forecasting of where we're going to see this tropical cyclone go once it develops in the Atlantic. Right now, I'm not expecting a United States impacts once again from this next system that we're watching. Doesn't mean it can't happen. I'm not as confident right now because it's so far out, but we are seeing a lot of agreement, at least on some sort of recurve. So we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. K.A. Young, thank you for the freaking galaxy. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. And the heart me. Make sure you guys pick her up. She is freaking amazing. I appreciate your support. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff here. You guys are awesome. I don't know what I do without you guys. It means a lot, seriously. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, all of the gifts, guys, and all of the donations that you guys do are going towards my schooling. If you guys don't know, I'm officially going back to med school in January, so it's about 40K to 50K a semester or every year that I'm going to be paying out of pocket because I don't have scholarship grants or anything as of right now. So all of the love and donos that you guys give, they go towards my schooling. So I appreciate it very, 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 very much. Every little bit counts and it goes a far way. So let me pull up the satellite imagery, a little bit better version of it here. So, all right, here you guys can actually see the disturbances. So down here on the bottom left of your screen, this is our tropical storm. This is now Tropical Storm Lorraine. Lorraine is going to be moving west and then kind of northwest here, and then eventually we'll be making landfall in portions of central Baja California. And you're like, all right, Matt, how is this going to impact the United States? Well, it's going to get pulled up into the north. We're going to have a swooping trough. It's going to be coming out of the Pacific. And what that's going to do is it's going to merge with our low, and we're going to see this thing move its way to the northeast here. K.A. Young again with the freaking galaxy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys don't have to do all that. It's very, very much appreciated, though. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Seriously, it means a lot. I appreciate it. Kay, I feel like you've been watching for a while. I feel like I've seen you in here a couple times. So if you have, then I appreciate it very, very much. The real question is who you got winning. You or Michigan? Honestly, probably Michigan, Josh, to be honest with you, bud. To be honest with you on that one. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk tropics here. Let's go to the satellite imagery here. Let me start out with the Pacific because we've got Tropical Storm Lorraine sitting here getting itself together. This is just off the coast of Mexico. I just unfollowed you. That's wild. But we've got Tropical Storm Lorraine here just sitting off the coast of Mexico. This is going to be continuing to gradually strengthen over the next couple of days. This will eventually be moving northwest and then eventually northeast, making a landfall in Baja California in the next couple of days. And then eventually, like I said, that moisture will be surging northeast a little bit. Uncertain on where and how much rain is going to fall. We'll talk about what that looks like here in just a moment. But once again, a pretty interesting system here. It's very rare that we get a landfalling hurricane or tropical storm in Baja California. So the last time I think I saw something like this happen was Hurricane Hillary a couple years ago, back in 2022 or 23. I can't remember the exact year. I think it was 2022, but I'll have to double check on that. But here is the latest cone, and you can see the big picture here. We are expecting a hurricane by Wednesday. Literally by tomorrow afternoon, we will have a Cat 1 hurricane, if not a little bit stronger than that. And then eventually it's going to recurve and move out here into Baja, making a landfall in Mexico and Baja California by the end of this week. So, eventually, as we go into next week, that moisture is going to have to go somewhere. It's going to get pushed up into New Mexico. It's going to get pushed up into Arizona. It's going to get pushed up into Texas and Oklahoma. And therefore, we'll have heavy rain and thunderstorms and severe weather at some points going into that. So a lot of things to watch. Like I told you guys, as the second that we hit the month of September, it gets super, super busy. So August may have been quiet in terms of, the tropics other than Hurricane Aaron and, there not being a lot of severe weather. But as we go into September, as we go into November and October, it gets crazy because there's a lot of stuff happening. You got fall fronts changing. You got cold air coming with warm air. You're going to get severe weather. And then you've got the tropics as well. So KA, once again, I appreciate you, girl. It seriously means a lot. Very, very much. I appreciate it beyond words. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also over on YouTube, we got Lana. Good to see you over there as well. I hope I said your name right. And then Broken Halo, good to see you guys as well. Yeah, if you guys are watching from Arizona or New Mexico, we're definitely going to be chatting with you guys a lot here over the next couple of days, especially with this tropical wave that's going to be moving in here as well. So most of the hurricane plots as well, or at least the guidance does have this moving out. I don't think California per se is going to get a lot of rain from the system. There could be some, outer bands as this thing develops and moves its way northeastward, but the general consensus is this is going to move towards southern Arizona and New Mexico. It's not going to be probably a named storm by the time it gets there because the mountains here in Mexico are going to break those up, but there still is going to be a strong enough flow that's going to cause some issues next week as we go into those areas. So, like I said, we're going to have to watch for the flooding in West Texas. We're going to have to watch for the flooding in Arizona, for New Mexico, for Oklahoma next week. So we'll start to break more of that down as we get closer to that. There's your GFS ensembles as well, pulling this thing to the northeastward there. And eventually, a remnant low sitting in the plains there. And the remnant lows we got to watch. Remnant lows are known for kind of notorious things. So also taking a look at the Atlantic this morning, where's our wave at? Where is it at, right? It is sitting well west here of the Cape Verde Islands now. Lots of convection starting to blossom with this. I wouldn't be shocked to see the National Hurricane Center go ahead and give this what's called an invest. It's when they officially start investigating it. Once it goes from an invest, it goes to a tropical depression, and then it goes into a storm after that, and then you get yada yada after that. So right now, not a lot of organization. We're starting to just see lots of bubbly convection. That's typically how tropical cyclone genesis works, is you get lots of convection, and then eventually a mid-level center develops, a low-level center develops, and then eventually you get a closed low and you get a crazy storm out of it. So the weird thing about this one is, guys, it's going to look very, very identical to Hurricane Aaron. I'm not joking when I say that. It's going to take a pretty consistent track that Hurricane Aaron took. May do some differences, clearly, because it's a completely different storm. But another difference with this as well is it's going to take a lot longer to develop. We're not expecting this to even attempt to become a hurricane until next week. Like, we're talking next Sunday, next Monday. So it's going to be moving its way very slowly westerly to northwesterly over the next 4 to 5 days here. Don't expect it to rapidly intensify. If it were to do that, it would be as it gets up into the central Atlantic Ocean next week. So we're going to be watching this wave for 7 to 10, 13, 14, 15 days at max. So like I said, a lot of things to be watching out for as we go through the next couple of days. Also, Sierra, good to see you in here. Connor's good to see you in here. Thank you guys for the gifts as well. I appreciate it. We've also got another tropical wave that's moving in off the coast of Africa as well behind it. That also has some support. I don't think, like I said, yeah, we don't have invest. Yeah, we don't have an invest yet. Also, Guys, we have a hurricane out here as well in the Pacific Ocean. Hurricane Kiko, Category 1 hurricane. It looks like it's getting ready to start undergoing rapid intensification as well. This is expected to become a major hurricane, and this is actually going to move its way west-northwestward towards Hawaii as we go into next week. So lots of air masses, lots of land masses are kind of on the table for a lot of different tropical development as we go into the month here. So not saying this is going to slam into Hawaii as a hurricane, but this may make an approach to Hawaii as we go towards next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but expected now to become a major hurricane in the next 2 to 3 days here. So something we're going to be watching here as well. Models support a major hurricane to, a low end Cat 2 over the next 2 to 3 days here. So like I said, that's the Pacific Ocean from a broader view there. Like I said, we'll have to watch for Hawaii. Here's the National Hurricane Center. This is what we've got. We now have that upgrade to a high risk or a 70% chance for a tropical cyclone development. Now, you're like, Matt, what's going on with this? It looks like it's coming toward the United States. A lot of our development regions that come off the coast of Africa are going to look like this. They're going to look like it's heading our direction, and that's not the case. There are about 1 million different things underneath the hood of meteorology that you guys don't see on these maps that us as Met students and meteorologists look at to help these forecasts and to show you guys what's going to be happening. And so there's a lot of different things that are going on. The first thing we're going to note is we do have a stronger Bermuda high, so that high pressure is going to keep this wave suppressed to the south for at least the time being. Stronger systems get pulled to the north, weaker systems get pulled to the west. And right now, with this taking longer to develop, it's more than likely going to stay on that westerly track. May start a little bit of a northwesterly track eventually as we go toward the weekend, but it's going to stay pretty west-northwest through the week here. And so, you're like, here we go again. This looks like Aaron all over again. It very identically does, sadly. But the good thing is most of our support in our guidance is with a recurve. So, you're looking at this, and I'm telling you guys right now, as we start to see this week go on and we get towards next weekend and we get toward the following week and this starts getting closer and closer and closer to land masses, you're going to start people saying, oh my God, it's going to Florida. Oh my God, it's going to the East Coast. Oh my God, it's going to the Gulf. If you guys learned anything with Hurricane Aaron, it is to not believe the people out there that fearmonger and fantasize over model runs that are millions and millions of hours out. So we learned that with the first go around, I hope. Hopefully we can do better the second go around. I forecasted Hurricane Aaron over 5 days out to make a recurve, and it made a recurve. It didn't go anywhere near a landfall. It got close on the East Coast, and it had some issues on the Outer Banks. But right now, yes, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not officially going to rule out a United States landfall right now because the opportunity is still there until we get closer into the weekend and into next week. It's a very slim chance right now, but most of the ensembles and agreement is with a recurve once again, and that's going to be due to a trough moving out here. We're going to have another, at least hopeful, break in our ridge, and we should see this thing go out to sea at some point, whether it's here, or whether it's here. That is the support. So that's what we're seeing right now. Like I said, things can change. We're over 10 days out. You guys know that. But right now that support is with a recurve. So this might just be the year of the recurve. So so that means we need to bring everyone here for their true weather reporting. Exactly. And if that is the thing, I would love that. I would absolutely love that, because what you guys are going to see as we get closer to the end of this week, and this is what happened with Hurricane Aaron 2 weeks ago, is we started getting some rude people in the comment sections. We started getting some crazy conspiracy theorists that were like, oh my God, the government's controlling hurricanes. It's going to go right toward the East Coast. Well, all of these fear-mongering videos that got millions and millions of views for people saying Hurricane Aaron was going to slam into the East Coast, literally, it never did that, which is crazy. So, yeah, literally, Rush, I'll take it as well, dude. I will say, though, Rush, with the difference in the European and the GFS ensembles, if we were to get a weaker trend west and it slides underneath that ridge, I'd be a little bit more concerned. The European does concern me. I will be honest with you. The Euro does concern me just a little bit because it does have land interaction and it does pull it further west. But I'm hoping that the European will start to go with the GFS at some point. That way we can see that out to sea curve. But right now it's just way too far out to, as well to be able to forecast where this is going to go. So we have lots of time to figure out where this is going to go. European ensembles a little bit further west, stronger system later into next week. And then the GFS ensemble, every single GFS ensemble does have, you guys can see, a pretty broad view, but most of them do have another recurve. This is very, very identical to Hurricane Aaron. So as we go through this week, we will definitely start to figure out where this is going to go. And I think once the National Hurricane Center officially gives it an invest and as well as a tropical depression status, we will get a cone. We'll start to get more of a better idea. So probably by around Thursday, Friday this week, we'll have a better idea on, where this is going to go. And every single hour that passes by, we get more information in. So that's the biggest thing. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you guys stay here for updates, for streams. I'll be doing video updates a lot in between streams to keep you guys updated because we get get updates every 5 to 6 hours. So that is the plan at the end of the day. So we'll be pushing them out, guys. That's what I do. So like I said, I sit at this desk 20 hours a day forecasting weather. So that's what we're going to do. I also want to mention one thing. There's a little bit of support for a tropical low to develop somewhere off the Yucatan next week. We're watching that as well. The National Hurricane Center doesn't have anything highlighted on that, but both the GFS and the Euro do have some slight agreement on the potential for a low next week down there in the lovely, sweet old Yucatan. Let me pull this up so you guys can actually see the screen. There we go. That's a little bit better. You guys can actually see it now. But as I was saying here, a little bit of support for something next week. And I know everybody starts, the second I start to talk about that, they start to think of Helene from last year, because Helene happened at the end of September. This would be a wave that we would have to watch toward, the middle of September. So once again, just something we got to watch for. It's not, anything to be concerned or worried about right now. Like I said, I will notice, though, just looking at our ensembles, we've got a pretty decent little spread here on a northern track or a western track. Remember, stronger system goes further north, weaker system goes further west. But I can't rule out looking at the European ensembles as well, given the, the more clustering that we have on where this is going to go. So if you're in the Leeward Islands, if you're in Puerto Rico, if you're in the Dominican, you guys need to be watching, especially down here as we go towards, the weekend, because we could start to see some issues if this were to take a furtherly west track. So a further west track would not be great. I want you guys to also remember, with Hurricane Erin, and with any type of system that strengthens and goes through rapid intensification, we typically see wibble wobbles, okay? Meaning that a storm is going to wobble sometimes right outside the cone, sometimes in the cone. We saw that with Erin. So when people see this, the cone, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's brushing the outside of the cone. Is it going to go? Is the forecast wrong? That's not how that works. There is always a margin for error outside the cone, even if a storm were to go outside the cone, until we have to start to worry or get concerned about things. So that's what I want you guys to know. If I'm not freaking out, you guys shouldn't be freaking out. That's just how it should be. So we're going to keep it that way. If I start to get worried, which that hopefully won't happen, then, you guys will know. Okay. Also, Allie, good to see you. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. Also, Hopi as well. Thank you for the gifts as well. Good to see you guys coming in here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Which model generally is more accurate? Honestly, a lot of them this year haven't been. The ensembles have been great. The dermatistic model runs haven't been. You can't really, during hurricane season, say that there is an accurate model. You have to see everything come together. So when there's an outlier for something, we have to include it in the, the forecast trends, but we want to see everything come together. And so, like I said, I want you guys to remember and understand, these ensembles go out over 200 hours out. This is next Friday. We are going to be watching this system for over a week and a half to 2 weeks. This is next Friday, not this Friday. This is next Friday, the 12th. This is how long it's going to take for this wave to get here. So with slower moving systems, they do change a lot because they're weaker. There's a lot of balance between our ridging and our troughing that kind of pull and move these storms around. Unlike a stronger system that moves quicker, those typically can get picked up a little bit quicker and get swept out to sea. So if this does take a westerly track and it does trend weaker, that's where the little bit more of a concern for some land interaction happens. So like I said, I don't expect a United States landfall with this system, at least as of right now. I think it's going to go out to sea. From what I'm seeing right now, it looks like that's going to be a thing. This definitely could be the year of the fish storms, which would be super awesome. But I want you guys to understand as well, we still got the rest of the month to get through and next month to get through, and even into early November. So a good amount of time to get through. So this one may hopefully miss, but can't say that about the rest of them. You guys know that. So The Purpose Path, good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Like I said, guys, we're just, we're watching the tropics here. We're going to keep you guys updated. I do want to note, though, I'm looking at some of the guidance that's coming in here. This is the lunchtime runs that we're starting to get in here. So the latest Icon run, Icon, you take it with this one with a grain of salt. It's one single dermatistic run, has this thing as a tropical depression, maybe by Thursday, maybe by Friday. And then eventually it's going to get pulled further to the northwest. And eventually, why it kind of wibble wobbles, we'll have to watch. But this is something we don't want to see. We don't want to see a west track, because that's one, an outlier. Two, like I said, it's just, the Icon is typically an outlier. So we'll watch all systems here. So I'm not going to say it's a fish storm yet, you guys, because it's not a fish storm yet. We still have lots of time to watch this. So most of the guidance, like I said, does suggest a fish storm, but there also is a lot of guidance that suggests some type of land interaction in between the United States and Africa. So whether that means the Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands, I'm not going to say that yet. There's a lot of meteorologists and weather enthusiasts on social media sites that are saying it's going to be a fish storm. Can't do that 7 to 10 days out. I don't care if you do weather forecasting and you think you know what you're talking about. You can't do that. So that's typically how that works. I won't make that call either until we have full support of that. So that's because things can change. You guys know that. So if you're going to say it's a fish storm, that's great, but that's not necessarily the case. So thank you guys for the follows, by the way. Fontana, good to see you in here. But like I said, we'll start to get, I think, our new runs in here pretty soon. We're going to double check here. Yeah, so 12Z or 12Z GFS is going to start loading in. We also will get, let me check and look and see if the GFS is doing anything wonky. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Yep, so the GFS wants this thing strengthening a little bit quicker and moving further to the northwest. So that's what the ensembles are also doing with it as well. So it's interesting to see how trends work. And how these dermatistic runs go as well. So like I said, we don't pay too much attention to the dermatistic runs right now. We pay attention to those ensembles. And like I said, you know, a lot of disagreement with those ensembles right now, with the GFS mostly taking most of the members out to sea here, and then the European not so much. So until we can see something confined to the other, we're going to be in La La Land right now. What does a fish storm mean? It just doesn't hit anything. Yeah, basically in a nutshell. And I'm not even going to say that because there could be some land interaction if this were to take longer to develop. So in a nutshell, this is going to sound weird. We want this storm to strengthen quicker so it gets pulled to the north quicker. We don't want to see it hang around and wibble wobble and track west and barely be organized. That's what we don't want to see, because that allows it to go trending further to the west, if you guys understand what I'm saying at that point. So like I said, that's something that we're watching very, very closely. So... but that's your tropics update. I do want to talk severe weather here for a moment, because we have a couple days of severe weather, and we're actually going to be in severe weather coverage mode for tomorrow as well. We do have a marginal risk for severe weather today back up into Minnesota, southeast North Dakota, and southeastern and eastern portions of South Dakota. This is a little level 1 risk at a marginal category status. We do have a very, very low end wind and hail threat today. Not really going to be looking at any tornadoes. It's less than 2%, but not 0. So you guys know the drill on that. But we do have a little wind and a hail threat today back into the high plains and upper Midwest. Wind threat at 5%, hail threat at 5%. But tomorrow is where things get a little bit interesting. We are going to have that cold air mass that's going to be coming down out of Canada, meeting up with that warm Gulf moist air. And what that's going to do is we're going to have what's called I would say a chance for some giant hail tomorrow. If you are in Wichita, Kansas tomorrow, Topeka, Lawrence, Hutchinson, just getting outside of Kansas City here, we do have a level 2 slight risk at play for tomorrow, and this is going to have a tornado risk with it, a wind threat, and the biggest threat for tomorrow is actually going to be hail. We do have a hatched hail threat for tomorrow, meaning we could see hail exceed 2 inches in diameter. So if you're in southeast Kansas tomorrow, you need to be weather aware, as large hail 2+ inches in diameter is definitely going to be on the table. Jan, I know you just saw that. Love that for you. We have the wind threat at 15 and 5%, and then the tornado risk is just confined from Wichita up towards that southeastern portions of Kansas. So we will be covering this event tomorrow with the elevated threat that is there. I'll wait for SPC to update it today as well and kind of see what they do, but a tornado is possible, and then the 2-inch diameter plus hail is going to be more on the table. So once again, southeast Kansas, western Missouri, or if you are in those areas tomorrow, you need to be weather aware. You need to have alerts on your phones, and we'll probably be doing our first severe weather coverage episode for quite some time starting tomorrow. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. And then going into the day 3 outlook, we do have that severe weather forecast again here for the east, more than likely the mid-Atlantic here up towards the northeast here, Pennsylvania, all the way back down here into eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia, where wind and hail will be the primary threats, and we'll kind of go from there. I was going to say, Danny, I was going to message you afterward as well, so we'll keep you guys updated on that too. When do storm chasers actually start reporting them going into a storm, if that makes sense? Wait, Jay, do you mean like for a hurricane, or like for severe weather? So that's my question for you, so I can clarify on that. But yeah, so we'll have that low and severe weather threat tomorrow, and we'll kind of go from there. I'll take a look at the Triple HR model, and we'll look at that here. Hurricanes or tropical storms. A lot of the chasers, if depending on where it's going to and what it looks like, will typically go down there a couple days before, about 2 or 3 days before. But like I said, I think you're going to be fine in Florida on this go round. It will be the systems that come out of the Gulf and the Central America area that we're going to have to watch for you guys. So I don't know what county that is, Hope. You'll have to let me know the city and the state, because I'm not familiar with a lot of counties. Here is a timeline for tomorrow. You guys are going to see storms move through this afternoon, not too crazy. We're going to have this outflow boundary / frontal zone that's going to be moving through tomorrow morning through tomorrow afternoon. And then there we go. It looks to be storms are going to work their way from northwest to southeast, in and around that 4 to 5 o'clock hour tomorrow. So between 4 and 5 p.m., we should see these storms start to bubble initially with a hail and damaging wind threat. And if they can become surface based, we will have a tornado threat tomorrow, very low end tornado threat. And then, that'll move through southeast Kansas. And then by 11 p.m. to midnight, these storms are pretty much done and out of here. We'll take a look at our instability values as well here, just to kind of give you guys an update on that. Instability through tomorrow will actually be quite plentiful. So let's take a sounding here near Wichita. It's a marginal severe sounding. It's an outflow boundary day, so your hodograph's going to be a little bit wonky from that standpoint, but a pretty juicy atmosphere for tomorrow from what I can see of on this hodo. Yeah, not like crazy tornadoes or anything like that, but there will be a chance for a brief weak tornado tomorrow. So I would be more concerned about the hail and the wind than anything else. Let's take a look at those tornado parameters just to see if they've got anything. Yeah, pretty weak tornado risk tomorrow, so I'm more concerned about that wind and that hail threat. We'll still have to watch for that tornado threat just in case something happens. So, also, let's take a look, guys. While I've got a moment here, there's our model run. This is our GFS coming in for our next system. Let's take a look at our troughing and see what our troughing is doing. Hope no haboobs in Phoenix again like last week. That's going to be possible, Lana, with the tropical surge of moisture that's coming in next week. Towards Sunday and Monday, we'll have to watch for that. I can't like speculate and say you're going to get one, but it's definitely possible once that dry air moves in behind those monsoon rainstorms. So it's possible. It's very possible. Hail and wind threat greater from about, yeah, Jan, so your hail and wind threat will be greater after 5 p.m. and it'll move through about 10 p.m. I think your storms will be a little bit later, probably around 6, 7, and then you'll have that brief weak tornado potential, but mostly large hail and damaging winds will be the primary threats if you get a storm tomorrow. It's not guaranteed though either, so. Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing, Lana, so we'll have to watch for you guys on that. So I want you guys to see our jet stream, right? So once again, northwesterly to southeasterly flow. There's our trough that's in place right now. Fontana with the freaking air balloon. Thank you. I appreciate that. You did not have to do that either. You guys are amazing. Seriously, I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the gift. Thank you, thank you. Make sure you guys do follow my top gifters as well. Please, please, please. I appreciate that. Beyond words. Thank you again. But as I was saying here, troughing is in place. Here comes our cold air. There's our big bowling ball trough. This is what you guys have been seeing me talk about and every other meteorologist talk about for about a week now. There's our big cold air mass that's going to be moving across the Ohio River Valley, the Midwest, the Northeast. We're going to have to watch this very closely just because it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold, guys. So that is going to be starting on Thursday and Friday. Technically, this cold front actually comes in tomorrow. So we'll see that cold air in place tomorrow. I want you guys to also see as well on the bottom left of your screen, here comes our hurricane or tropical storm that will be making landfall in Baja, California in about 2 to 3 days. That moisture will get surged to the north, and we will see some type of severe weather next week across the southern plains again. It merges up with a trough, and then there it is. So we're still going to be dealing with that cold air in place across the Northeast, the Ohio River Valley as well, going into Sunday and Monday. And then after that, things get a little bit more uncertain, but I do start to note we're going to start to see some significant troughing as we go into next week that could allow for some more severe weather to return, and that's kind of a little bit to be determined at that point. So I want you guys to also know, once this cold air mass pulls out of the United States next weekend, we will have warm air return again. We're going to have a ridging pattern that looks like it's going to set up, and that's going to allow for the return for warmer temps as we go into the central portions of September. So a lot of things are going to be happening, guys. It's going to be busy, busy, busy. And you can see on the temperature anomalies, here's that blob of cold air going to be moving down. Originally, last week, they had that darker blob moving all the way down here to the southeast. But as, you know, we get closer in time to these events happening, you see the tweaking of the models and how things come more confined together and more solidation on what's going to happen. And most of the times, you're going to see models change. So that's what we saw happen. So that's something to make note of here as well as we go through time. And like I said, another little push of cold air going toward the weekend. And then this thing will be gone and it'll be out of here by the week. So yeah, so lots of things to watch, guys. It's not just, like I said, it's not just the tropics, it's severe weather season. There's a lot going on. So like I said, I'm already noticing too, just I think slightly here, a little bit more of a westerly trend with the GFS. Let me do some comparison here. Hold on. Let's do some comparison. Okay, so still pretty consistent, actually. I will say, over the last couple of GFS runs, the GFS wants a hurricane by Sunday. So that's something we're going to watch. Interesting, interesting, interesting. It's like the GFS ensembles also are seeing that trend a little bit further south as well. That's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to do either. There we go. Yeah, so maybe a little bit of a trend south with our GFS. We don't want to see the European models be right, because the European ensembles have this thing hitting land masses, and we do not want that. We don't want that at all. So that would not be good. Okay. So there's that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. I will not bite, I promise. We're just kind of watching new trends come in. Florida's not technically out of the picture yet. I don't want to say the United States is out of the picture yet. It's a very slim chance, but like I said, you know, it just depends on how far west does this go. Does it trend north? Is it, you know, there's a lot of questions I have as well, guys. A lot of questions. And if I could give you guys an answer, I would do it in a second, but I just don't know myself. I don't know at all. It's really watching our wave develop and seeing what's going to happen with it. I'll show you guys our wave. Let me pull it up here. There it is. So this is our tropical wave right here. There's not much going on with it. And the longer that this thing takes to organize, the further west it's going to go. That's typically how it went. Yeah. So that's something we're going to have to watch. I don't think it's going to be an Irma path. No. Like I said, I can't compare storms either, guys. No Met or, you know, myself is going to compare storms. It's just how that works. I know a lot of people want to skepticize and, you know, figure out where it's going to go. I don't think Florida's really in a role for this one. I think if anybody needs to be concerned, it's the Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico again, and then we'll probably see this thing recurve, but it's complex. It's very complex when it comes to meteorology. We love it, though. We love meteorology. What's up, Brian? Yes, there is another tropical wave that we're watching behind it as well. Correct, yes. It's that time of the year, so we'll see another wave coming behind it. But we also, guys, let me pull this up as well. We also have... We got a lot going on. A lot going on right now. Here's our troughing for next week's severe weather setup. Here is Hurricane Kiko down here. And here's our tropical storm, Lorraine, that's going to be moving up into the plains next week. So both active on both sides of things. Which, go figure, it's typically how that works. So. Is Puerto Rico safe? No, not right now. I don't mean to say it like that. What I mean is, like, you need to be paying attention and watching. And nobody's safe from this wave right now until we get a better agreement on what's going to happen with it. That's just, like I said, that's part of it, sadly. But NHC will be doing a track cone update, or not a cone update, but a update with this in about an hour or so. Anything coming into the Gulf, we'll see. It is not a fish storm yet. I don't know why people are saying that. Some of the ensembles support a fish storm, but right now that's uncertain. I can't say or not if it's going to be a fish storm yet. We're way too far out, and anybody that is trying to say it's a fish storm right now is unreliable to watch. Just saying. I get people want it to go out to sea, but we can't say that yet because it's not off the table. You have the GFS ensembles that are showing a recurve, correct? I'll pull this back up so you guys can see. Yep, it's going to happen. Anyways, yeah, we have the GFS ensembles that do show a recurve, but you also have a couple that show land interaction. So it's not a fish storm if there's land interaction. That's not how that works. There's also the European ensembles that mostly agree on land interaction right now. So once again, if you guys learned anything from Hurricane Erin, we're going to have the people in the chat that are saying, oh, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. But darn, can't say that too early in advance. Yep. So I'm not trying to be rude to anybody in chat, but Jesus Christ, you guys should learn from the first one on the first go round that we can't forecast that far out. These ensembles don't even show this system in the Central Atlantic until next weekend, almost. This is next Friday. These ensembles stop next Friday, the 12th. That's just way too far out to figure out. So we have a better agreement on a 3 to 5 day range, but once we get past Friday of this week, it's way uncertain. The further west this goes, means that this could shift further west or south. The further north it goes would be better, but right now we just don't know. So, yeah, the Ventusky app is also bullshit. Just saying as well. Once again, guys, weather apps, model apps, none of that BS. People can't predict storms 2 weeks out. Sorry. Yeah, what's crazy too is that one dude, the first call for Aaron was for it to recurve way further out. Aaron was originally supposed to recurve if we were looking at models 2 weeks out with Aaron, like we were. Aaron was supposed to recurve way out here. Also was way out here. Aaron ended up recurving about 100 miles off the East Coast. So if you want to say you can forecast storms over 2 weeks out, you're wrong. Sorry. So that's crazy that people think that this is going to be a fish storm just automatically because some model runs and most of the ensembles support that. Doesn't mean that's 100% certain. With a change in a forecast or a different trend in one day, things can change in a heartbeat. You guys should know that. But welcome to hurricane season where people think they know everything. You're fine, Samantha. You're fine. I just wanted to correct on that. I know people want to come in and argue and it's crazy. It blows my mind. Yeah, I was going to say every single model did a BS job with Aaron. 100% agreed on that, Brian. 100%. We had so many changes with our models consistently, almost every single update with Aaron. Yes, the Hurricane Center cone did pretty good, but that was after the fact that the storm got named. We had so many changes with the forecast trend, and yes, you're looking at the ensembles right now, and you may think that it's going out to sea, but that's not set in stone. Because those models and those ensembles show the system over 7 days out. It's crazy. Crazy. Ginger, what's up? Good to see you. Dang, I haven't seen you in forever. I hope you're doing well. I have so many people that I'm coming in here and seeing that I haven't seen in forever. Good to see you guys. So remember, guys, confidence in forecasting gets more uncertain as we go out in time. So 3 to 5 days, pretty decent at trying to forecast a storm. When you're past 5 days out, it starts to get very complicated. It's unlike severe weather, where, you know, we can forecast something over a week to a week and a half out. Hurricane season, not so much, because you've got troughing that plays a role, you have ridging that plays a role. Until these spaghetti model plots are consistent and are a lot tighter than what they are, there's no skill in forecasting that far out. We're in La La Land. Doing good, Ginger, doing good. Dealing with the crazy side of social media when it comes to hurricane season. That's what the best part about it is. Is tornado season finished? I don't get them where I'm from. Tornado season's all year long, guys. Most peak tornado season is technically during spring, and then you get a second season during fall when air masses are clashing. But yes, tornado season continues all year long. I appreciate that, Ginger. Good to see you in here. I'll have to catch up with you sometime. I got a lot of people that I've got to catch up with over the next couple of weeks and months that have come into my streams that I've been watching for a while that I haven't talked to in forever. Yep. So once again, we're going to wait and see what our new support is. I want to see the GFS ensembles load in here because we're already seeing a little bit of a trend in a different direction, which is interesting. But once again, if you guys learned with Hurricane Aaron, no skill in forecasting any type of tropical system, 7 days out, there's just no skill into it. No skill. I appreciate you for stopping in, Ginger. Good to see you. Oh, anything worried about right now? Miami, Florida? Yeah, Florida's fine. I'm not worried about Florida right now. Until I see guidance that supports something headed your direction, I'm not too worried about you guys. Like I said, we just have to get on here and update and talk every single day because things can change. You guys know that. If the ridging is too strong, or, you know, a troughing pattern changes or something like that happens, it can change the whole entire forecast. You guys should know that at this point. So Yeah, that's a new trend. See what I'm saying? This is a new trend already. The GFS just completely pulled this thing way further to the south than what yesterday's run was. So this is not what we want to see, is the GFS trending southwest already. So this is the same situation that we saw with Aaron. Granted, this is a dermatistic model run. This is only one run. This has got a major hurricane around next Monday or Tuesday in the Atlantic. So that's what I'm getting at, is if you look at the run from last night, this was the midnight run of the GFS. Once it loads in, that would be awesome. Hurricane season is so frustrating, I swear. Load. It's not wanting to load, so we're gonna have to wait for it to load. But anyways, yeah, it's ridiculous. That's wild, Katie. That's crazy. Why is this taking forever to load? Come on. It's like there's so many people that are using it. Yes, troughing can help pull systems out to sea, 100%. Yeah, any type of frontal zone that moves through can help push things out. All right, so let's look at the run from last night. Here's our tropical wave. Yeah, so look at the difference. This was the run last night. This is where it had it at. So next Tuesday, September 9th at 21Z, we're going to circle right here. This is where it was at last night. This was the midnight run, right? Let's go to the 6Z run. Sorry, let me put that back down there. 6Z run. A little bit further to the south. A little bit further to the south, a little bit weaker. 6Z run pulls it out to sea. And then you get this afternoon's run, or at least the lunchtime run for today. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. It may not seem like that big of a difference, guys, but it is when it comes to forecasting. It's a big, big difference. And I don't like this because this brings a major hurricane once again in the same exact southerly path as what Aaron is, and a stronger storm to the south underneath a ridge ultimately can push this thing further west. So that's not a scenario that we want to see. And I have a feeling we're about to see the GFS ensembles today shift back to the Euro. Got to watch the forecasting trends. Have to. It's not time to panic or anything, but these trends mean the world to the overall, you know, where this is going to go. So that is a trend south, a pretty significant trend south. We can look at the latest trends again with this. Hold on. So there was last night's run, this morning's run, this afternoon. Look at the difference. There was the 06Z from this morning, this afternoon. This morning, this afternoon. That's a big difference. It's a huge difference. This morning's run barely had a tropical storm. This afternoon's run, Cat 4, Cat 3 hurricane. That's what we're looking at, guys. Like I said, if there is no skill in forecasting or calling the system off when there's changes. So for the people that come in here and say, oh, it's guaranteed a fish storm, it's not going anywhere, those people have no idea what they're talking about, and they definitely don't know meteorology, that's for sure. Yeah, it went very far south. It's just the dermatistic run, though, too, so I want to see what the ensembles do once they grab onto this. So we're waiting for the new ensembles to come in. But that's a shift in the dermatistic run. This updates 4 times a day, so we'll see another run this afternoon. Yeah, big shift. I mean, that plays a huge role, and I wonder if our ridging is a little bit stronger on this go-round. Look at that. Look at that shift. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But like I said, guys, here's the deal once again. We're going to see these shifts back and forth for days. And I mean for days, because until we get an invest, until we get a named storm, and until we start getting real-time data in there, these model runs don't mean anything. But the trends mean something. The trends are what we have to watch. It's not just that one basic run, it's the trends. So the further south storm, it's not what we want to see. And I have a feeling that this may get stuck underneath the ridge if this does not get pulled. I really hope that this gets pulled. This is a little bit concerning. That's it. So this is interesting. I wonder if our tropical wave, our tropical storm that's making landfall in Baja, California this weekend is going to push this upper low across the Ohio River Valley, and it may enhance our Bermuda high next week. That's really interesting. At least on this run. A stronger Bermuda high is going to push this thing to the west. Unlike yesterday's run, where we had, let me go to the midnight run. Yeah, look at the difference, guys. Look at the difference. Stronger trough to the north breaks the ridge down, and that ridge, the high pressure breaking up, allows this thing to go out to sea. That was last night's run. This morning's run, weaker trough to the south allows the ridge to build back in, still pulls it out to sea with the trough coming in. So we'll see what it does. We'll see what the noon run does here. This is a really interesting trend. Looks like we're gonna have another wave behind it as well. So the good thing is, guys, is we're now at 8 days out. This doesn't mean anything over 8 days out. We're just looking in la la land at this point. But this is a very weak trough, so it looks to be that this trough is trending weaker and allowing for a stronger Bermuda high to set in place. And this would push this thing either to the west or the southwest, unless it can still recurve. I'm gonna be curious to see what ensembles do today and what the European does. Yeah, so like I said, we cannot write off this storm yet. So that is definitely an interesting trend. I'm hoping, like I said, I'm still thinking it'll get pulled. It'll have to get pulled at some point. We're gonna wait and watch this update. Can't wait to see all the social media buzz on this one. Hold on one second, I'm reading something real quick. Okay. I'm just looking at a couple things here. Yeah, I just want to see ensembles today. GFS is going further south with it. But once again, if this were to strengthen a little bit quicker, we could see that trend back to the north again as well, because there's going to be a little bit of a weakness in our ridging. So I'm hoping if this trough that's going to be coming through the Ohio River Valley next week is going to what's going to potentially yank this thing out to sea. If that troughing wasn't there, we would be concerned about, you know, a landfall. This is literally going to take the same track as Aaron, which is so crazy. Or at least it's going to attempt to. Yeah, so hurricanes like to stay under the least path of resistance, and that's typically right underneath the ridge. I appreciate it, Jen. I appreciate it. Guys, this stuff is hard. It gets really tricky sometimes. So like I'm sitting here in my head and I'm like trying to figure out what's gonna happen, but also give you guys those realistic answers of like, all right, what's gonna happen? I still don't see the East Coast getting hit with this. I still think this is gonna recurve at some point. It's just, are we looking at another Hurricane Aaron all over again? Except this one would be Gabrielle or Gabriel, however you say it. It's just an interesting trend. Yeah, it looks to be it's starting to turn north now. So we should see this. Because this little trough right here is what would pull it out. I'm just speculating at this point, guys. That's literally what I'm doing, is just speculating. Like I said, we're past that 7-day period, 5 to 7 day period, so these forecasts they don't mean much. So the ensembles through Thursday and Friday have a pretty good agreement on where this is going to go. That's just how far west or southwest of these trends stay today. We should get in a day one SPC outlook here, as we just did. All right, marginal risk today got a little bit different. I'll wait for that to update. Once again, I appreciate y'all for all the love and all the support today. You guys have been super freaking awesome. I appreciate it. We'll be doing lots of updates. I'll have another update later on this evening today for you guys. So, I just want to know where the GFS takes this run. Yeah, you're starting to see that ridge breakdown. So that should, like I said, that should allow for an out to sea curve because this trough will swoop it in. If that trough wasn't there, we would be, like I said, looking at a U.S. landfall almost. Oh, man. There he goes. Yep, it's going out to sea now. So it feels the weakness in the ridge and it goes. Still a trend to be noted on, so. But that's my update for you guys this morning. I'm going to watch things come in this afternoon behind the scenes. Once we get our 12 o'clock update in, I will let you guys know. I'll do a video or something like that. We'll have another stream probably later on this evening. I was going to do a stream again at 2 o'clock, but it's already close to that. So I'll probably wait for a little bit later to do that. Sorry video today, which should be my level of concern for tornadoes for the next 2 days. If you're in Kansas, that's the only tornado threat, just for southern Kansas. It's going to be for a low in 2%, so nothing too crazy. Just be mindful. More wind and hail than anything tomorrow. We'll be covering it as well. Oh, Northeast Oklahoma, no tornado risk. You guys are fine. So, what's up, Matt? So, like I said, I'll be watching trends behind the scenes, guys. We'll keep you guys updated. If anything crazy happens, you'll know first. But I'm going to wrap things up. I'm going to get some food because I'm hungry. And I will see you guys back in here again in just a couple hours. Thank you guys again for all the follows, all the taps, all the gifts, all the love. All my weather team, thank you guys for hopping in here as well for a little bit. And I'll see you guys back in here again in a couple hours. Be safe, y'all.